And it says we're live. Hello, everybody who's out there. Hello, whoever is watching the replay. Thanks for being here. Let me put up my little banner. Where'd it go? Maybe I don't have a banner. I thought I had a banner. Just kidding. I'll make another one. Well, welcome. Thought I had one. Welcome to, what did I call it? I called it, hello, everybody. Oh, there's my voice. Let me get rid of me. Don't you love when that happens? Yes, I was on there. Ooh. Anyway, okay. Right Night Moms Club. And we wanted to just kind of get some mom writers together, talk about momming and talk about writing and some self-care stuff because life is crazy and self-care is crucial. So I thought that maybe that would be something fun to talk about. So we can just, yes, Sarah's not here, by the way. Sarah Cahill, one of her mom life, one of her kiddos isn't feeling well and isn't sleeping. So life happens for that. So it will be.
We know how that is.
Yes, we do. So we can just kind of go through and introduce ourselves. We can say who we are, what our channel is about, and maybe like how many kids we have and how old they are. Because I think we're like all over the board, all three of us. So that'll be really cool to hear everybody's point of view. So, and anybody in the comments do the same. And if you're not a mom, that's perfectly fine. Just say what you're working on and what you're writing about. So I'm Jennifer Lean. Jenny, you can call me, or the right mama, whatever you want to call me. I'm currently working on my women's fiction work in progress. And I'm also kind of starting to slowly wiggle my way into my plans for self-publishing this year, probably.
Exciting.
It's exciting and terrifying. Kelly, I'm probably going to reach out to you, girl.
Go for it.
I've always, traditional publishing was kind of always my goal. But after what's happened the past year, I want to get this book out this year. So I have some good ideas, honestly. I'm kind of excited. Anyway, that's another day. I have twin 3-year-olds, Lucy and Laura, and they're insane. But I also believe that these two mamas have more kids than me, so I am like praising you guys. So
not two of the same age, though. That's tough.
It's so funny because when people say that to me, I go, "You had more than one pregnancy," and I'm just like, That's when I'm like, no way. I don't think if I ever had another, it would be like when the girls can like take care of them and just take care of the baby and let me walk. Anyway, we'll move on to Laurel. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Laurel. This is my first live stream, so I hope I don't completely awkward out and make a fool of myself. But my channel is just called Laurel Mooring. It's mostly AuthorTube with a little bit of other personal stuff sort of sprinkled in there. It actually started as a mommy lifestyle channel many years ago, and I just recently transitioned it in the fall. So I am currently working on a young adult contemporary, I guess. I wrote it during Nano. It was the first time I'd ever won Nano, which was super exciting. And now I am working on editing it. So that's where I'm at with that. I have 3 little boys at home. They are 3, 6, and 9. And they're currently homeschooling. So that's a lot of fun. Keeps my days busy. Thankfully, my husband is working from home, so he is a huge help with all of that. So he's with the kids right now, taking care of them for me.
That's so lovely. I know my girls are over with their dad, and we very civilly co-parent. We're very friendly with each other. So yes, Friday nights are I have wine right here. I'm all about it right now. All right, Kelly.
I have a drink too, so you're not alone.
Cheers. Have Sprite.
I like Sprite. Perfect. All right, Kelly.
I'm Kelly Martin from Kelly Martin Books. I'm traditionally and independently published. I have between 30 and 40 books out. I need to count. I've had closer to 40 published, but some of them aren't published anymore. I started writing this year will be 10 years. It'll be 10 years in August. My girls, when I first started writing, they were 1, 4, and 6. And now they're 10, 13, and 15. Oh, and I write middle grade, young adult, and adult horror, paranormal, ghost stories under Kelly Martin, and I write sweet romance under Marty K.
Oh, I didn't know.
And I'm a teacher.
That's so cool.
I teach special ed preschool.
Right?
Wow, that's a lot.
Oh my gosh, I'm like bowing to you guys. So Kelly, you have 3 girls.
Yes.
And Laurel has 3 boys.
Yeah.
See, and I see that as 6 pregnancies altogether, and that to me is just like, that's how I see the world.
My oldest 2 are 18 months apart.
Oh my Lanta, no. Oh my gosh, you guys.
How are you doing with them now being teenagers? Is there a lot of like fighting in the house? Yeah.
No, there's less talking now. They get along pretty well. They all share the same room. So all 3 of them are in the same room, but it's a pretty big room. So, they have space, but, yeah, no, not bad. No.
They have to learn to get along when they're sharing a space like that, right? So.
Yes.
Holy moly. Impressive. This is why I like this, because I'm excited to hear how you guys want to ask. I have a few questions for those in the comments, just along the lines of self-care and, those kind of things. And since we're all in very, different momming stages with different, like 3 boys, like I can't imagine having a boy, and then 3 girls, meaning 3 different pregnancies and having girls, like that's just a lot. So, oh my goodness. And I know, twins as scary as it is, but like, again, I see it as pregnancies, and that's just impressive, guys. So let's see who is in the comments. I see Britters, Queen Britters is here. And
Hi, Brittany.
Yes, commenting. We have Charlie. Hello, Charlie. Let's see. JJ Otis. Hello. I'm currently working on a contemporary fantasy. I have 2 kids, 14 and 10. Whew, awesome. Man, I'm not ready for it. Like my nephew's 10 and I have 2 cousins who are 10 and they all play together, and I'm not ready for that either. No, every stage is different. That's what I'm learning. It doesn't get easier. It just gets different. That's, I think, the nice way people put it. Oh, cute. Yeah. It's just, hot mess. Currently working on a short story collection in a dark fantasy series, both adult and both indie self-publishing. Awesome. I have 1 stepson. He's 10. There's the 10-year-old age. What I'm a little terrified about.
I think 10 is hard. Between 8 and 10, and especially with girls, I don't know how boys are, but 8 and 10 with girls is rough.
It's tough with boys too.
Oh, great. I can't wait. It's going to be.
It gets better. Like when they turn 13, 14, it gets better for a while. We'll see how long it lasts.
I think it'll be nice when the girls play together really well. But like, I'm going to do a video, I think, next week of me carrying my laptop around all day and just seeing how many times I can just open it quick and try to write without them legit climbing up my butt and on my back. And like, yeah. So we will see.
When I first started writing, my youngest she was 1. And in my bio, it used to say writing stories with a 2-year-old sitting on my shoulder. Because that's what I did. I had the laptop in the living room. And when she wasn't watching TV, she would be sitting on my shoulder watching TV, or she went up dancing, and I would be writing while she was sitting on my shoulder.
It is possible. It is possible. Good for you. I'm one of those people who I eat after my girls eat most of the time, because they either, as you know, they either want you to sit with them or help them and or eat your food. And I'm one of those people. It's just like, I want my food. Like, I'm so selfish. I want my food. Don't eat all my food. So I'm eating at 9:30, 10 at night, which is so not healthy. But I'm so selfish, especially with dinner. I just want to sit down and just eat.
We do the same thing. We eat when the kids are in bed.
Yeah.
I just like to enjoy my food, and I can't enjoy it when there's chitter chattering in my ear.
See, with my class, I don't get a lunch break. Well, my lunch break is eating with my kids, my classroom full of kids. So if I get more than 5 minutes to eat, I don't know what to do with myself.
That's so tough. Oh my gosh, that's true. Class, you go from like all the teachers of the world. I again bow down to you because you go to school with all these crazy humans and then you come home to your crazy humans. And like, I mean, whew, that's a lot. I see Renee, and she's currently working on book 1 of a romance series. She has 3 boys who are 13, 7, and 1, and a stepdaughter who visits in the summer who is 14. Oh my goodness. Welcome, welcome. And Lauren is here. Hello, Lauren.
Renee,
coming out. What were you saying, Kelly?
Renee,
Was that Kelly?
You got to tell me, do boys get easier when they teenage years?
Are the teenage years easier or harder? I mean, I just can't even imagine having 2 girls like this. This week I was sitting down because they were like playing on my bed, and sometimes I sit down and attempt to like get a few words in or try to like do some work, and they let me for like a hot minute or 2, and they went into my closet and they came out like a typical cliche like little toddlers with my like heels on and like a scarf around. I got this cute little video, like heels I haven't touched since like college, but I still have. I don't know why. I don't know when I'll ever wear those, but like, I'm impressed with one of my girls. She can walk in those. I don't know how she can. But she also wasn't wearing pants.
They have a lower center of gravity. They have a lower center of gravity when they're that fall.
They won't fall as far either. Oh my gosh, it was funny. Jeez. All right. Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad there's a good few of us here. Well, what we can do is, like I said, I just popped up a few random questions that will help us talk about our experience. And then we can also check out all of you guys in the comments, and I'm sure it'll bring up lots of lovely discussions. So let's see. The first one is, how has motherhood or pregnancy impacted your lifestyle and mental health? Which is a pretty loaded question, but how has, whether pregnancy or motherhood, how's it impacted your lifestyle and your mental health? And I can jump at that one first, just to be the brave one, because man, it was tough for me. I will fully admit that it was so tough because I had only known the baby daddy we'd only been dating a few months, and he lived in a different city. And the twins were a complete surprise as well. So mentally, it was really tricky for me because I went from working a 9-to-5 job to having to move to a different city, not work, not do all those things. And being someone who already struggles with mental health, it really kicked me in the butt pretty quick. So I had to really figure out how to navigate, do I take meds? Because I took myself off of meds right away. Do I talk to my doctor? Do I need to go to therapy? Like, how do I find time for me? Like, all those things, just my brain went crazy. So that was tough for me. The lifestyle change was also very tough. I mean, as moms, I think that's something that many new moms don't fully grasp. That's what I've learned, is they don't realize it's a legit lifestyle flip. Like, you can't just leave the house to go pick up a coffee or go to sit at my coffee shops. Like, I have to get the girls and the bag and this, and it's just such a different lifestyle. So it definitely impacted me real quick.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think the lifestyle change was probably the hardest part for me. I was 23 when we had my first. My husband was 22. We'd just gotten married and it was planned and everything, but still we were so young, so naive. And just all of our friends were still living their 20-year-old lives. And now we were home with a baby and didn't really have anyone we could relate with from our personal lives. So I found it really important to seek out a mom's group that I could go and meet. And thankfully there was a coffee shop that had a play center in it nearby. So we used to just go hang out there. The kids could play, we could drink coffee. It was amazing. But I think without that, I think I would have been totally lost because I was able to make friends there. So yeah, I think it's definitely the lifestyle change that made the biggest difference for me, especially being that young.
Mm-hmm.
I was 24, I think, when Katie was born, my oldest. We've been married about 2 years when she was born, and it was different. I thought, strangely, that, okay, I have a degree in early childhood. I've had all the classes you could ever have from birth to age 8. Like, I knew.
I'm exactly in your shoes right now with this.
I knew so much that I had no idea. You know, the what to expect when you're expecting the book?
Yes.
I remember reading it to figure out what to put in your hospital bag, and I could not figure out why you needed to take, like, period pads. I had no idea. So obviously I was not ready for this to happen. But it happened, and I learned real quick on things that I didn't know what I didn't know. Of course, when the second one came, I was like, you know,
here you go.
With this. But,
hand it the baby over.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing after I had her was it's like that. She didn't have colic, but she had acid reflux. She had to sleep like in a swing or on her chest. I tried to breastfeed her. That didn't work out because she would feed for an hour and 20 minutes. And then she would burp for like 20 minutes. Then she would sleep for 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
And then it would start all over again because, you know, they feed every 2 hours. I wasn't getting any sleep. I had the mommy guilt of didn't want to give her formula. Ended up giving her formula, best thing ever that, you know, happened. I got sleep. She got sleep. We were all happy. But, yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but later when I went back and looked at it, I had postpartum depression. So it's just, you know, it was a big change working full time. And then I got pregnant again when she was 9 months old. And then I found out I was pregnant and I was having to go back. I was working full time and I had to go back to college to get my special ed endorsement to keep my job. But a 9-month-old had to go back to college, pregnant, sick as a dog, and working full time. It was
not way too much.
No, so there was no self-care in there anywhere. It was survival mode in that moment. So I'm very glad I'm glad things have settled a lot. But yeah, at the time, you know, when you just get focused on something and you're like, okay, I have to do this, you focus on the assignment or the deadline or the whatever, and then you go back and look and you're like, oh, that was bad. That was really bad. So
oh my gosh.
It's rough.
I have to go, like, right when you brought up, I have a degree in child and family studies. So I've taken the social work, the psychology, early childhood. My first job was at like the college daycare. And, you know, I used to work summer camps and all these things. I've babysat, been nannied as, you know, a teenager. Like, I know kids. The second they handed those, like, the girls like came over from their hot plates in the C-section room, like, here they are. I was like, what do I do with these? Like, all that education, like, flew out the window.
Yeah, you're like, you're really gonna let me go home with this? She's new. Like, she's new, and you're gonna let me take her? Are you sure?
You trust me with this? Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, thank you for sharing that. And I think a lot of us relate to a lot of these things. Let's see what we are talking about. Let me make sure I get to everybody's. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Lauren. I work, yes, full-time in cardiology. I have a 2-year-old son, and I'm publishing 3 books this year. I didn't know that. Nice. I still have to order your new one, which I'm going to. Hopefully, yeah. And I just don't sleep anymore.
I did that when my kids were little. I didn't sleep either. Like, if I was either working or when I went to bed, I wrote. I didn't sleep. I slept maybe 4 hours a night. So get that.
I feel like I will say my girls, I was cursed from the start. You could say that with twins, but that's not what I meant. Like I meant they were really good newborns in that I actually could, like, knock on wood, people hated me for it. Like I could sleep, like they slept for like 3 hours. I got them on the same schedule. So if one woke up, I woke up the other, even though everyone yelled at me not to wake up a sleeping baby. I was like, I don't care with twins. I have to do it. Like I stuck to my gut, and they were on the same schedule. They let me sleep. Like they were good newborns. So I knew I was screwed when they were toddlers. And let me tell you, they are freaking demons right now. Like threes are worse than
3 is
twos.
hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I could talk for hours about the three-nager phase and how terrible twos is nothing.
No.
Like, the last 2 weeks, my girls, like one of them specifically, like is into the whole no and just walking away. Like, what? Since when are you in charge? Like, no. Like, you listen to me and like, I want more snack. No, we already had snack. Flailing to the ground, having the tantrum. Like, no, like. But then just attitude. Where did this come from? And she's like the cute little like one of the two. Like who's like the not perfect, but like come across as that. I'm like, you are a devil right now. But anyway, geez. Let's see. Renee, for me, it's tougher because they think they are 21 and they can do what they want. There are fights, but in our house, we always make up. I like that. We will work though the driving years are coming up. Oh gosh. Thank God I have a while for that.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that at all.
My oldest has her permit.
I was gonna say you two over here are definitely closer to that than me.
It comes quick.
I will say mom years move faster than normal years, and maybe it's the routine and the schedule. I don't know, but
what do they say? The days are long and the years are short. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
When my kids were little, I was like, "That's not real." It's very true.
It's very real.
Man, and yeah, 3 books in a year, Lauren. That's awesome. I mean, if you watched my most recent video, I'm going to stop saying if, because I'm pretty sure I need to like start really scheduling out the indie route for me. I've had good feedback from some authors who agents who requested full manuscripts. But I'm thinking I'm going to start planning, and I will probably want to somewhat fast release, but that fast release is not as fast as other people, but for me it is. So I need to really, so I get it. Your son loves shoes. That must be to the story of my girls appearing out of my closet with heels and socks and headbands. And I didn't even know those things were on the floor. Like those are supposed to be hanging. I don't know how they got them. I was right here watching them. Jeez. I struggled through infertility IVF, and I've had a lot of babies. And geez, Lauren, I'm sorry. Having my son was really good for my mental health. Okay, yes. I will say that this is when the other side of the coin, you definitely see the other side of the coin for sure. And help me prioritize my family in a way that hadn't before. I will say that I feel like for people who have gone through a lot of, and I know people who have gone through a lot of that. I mean, I'm sure it's different. It's definitely different than those, I'm guessing those who haven't. I don't know. I didn't experience that. And I've had some guilt because I've had friends who experienced that, and all of a sudden, like, twins, like magically, I felt so bad. Like they've been struggling, and I'm over here, stressed because I magically was gifted twins, and that's tough because not everybody, they would do anything for twins. Some people would do anything for twins. So it's the other side of the coin for sure. Do you guys have anything to say about that?
Yeah, my sister was going through infertility when we decided we were going to try and get pregnant. So that I had a lot of guilt. Thankfully, she did get pregnant before we did. And my nephew's just a couple months older than my eldest. But we got pregnant on the first try. So I had so much guilt about that and didn't even really want to tell her that we were trying or that it had happened on the first try, that sort of thing. So yeah, that was definitely tough for her.
That's hard. Jeez. And there's actually someone before Kelly, someone else who we did IVF. I had 2 C-sections with my kids. having more anxiety lately due to COVID, virtual school, and my 14-year-old son was diagnosed with diabetes. Oh gosh, my Lanta. So there's a lot of people who I swear there's more people out there who, I mean, they won't talk about it, obviously, who've gone through these kind of things. And just, I give all my happy thoughts to you guys because it's going to happen. And I know we complain and we argue, but we all love our kids. But it's always nice to be able to vent and complain in an open, kind, supportive environment. But Kelly, do you have anything you want to add?
I know where I worked, there was a girl that had decided that told me that her and her husband were thinking about having a baby, and they were going to start trying. So my husband and I had been talking about it. We just didn't know if we were, ready yet. And we decided, okay, we'll start trying too. So I got pregnant like right off, and it took her 1.5 years. So that was, it was very, like, I didn't know exactly what, to say. And, it was I mean, she was happy, but it was just it was a thing, not a bad thing, but,
I know. I don't want to make anybody upset, but I actually, one of my best friends, right before I got pregnant, she had already had a daughter, but she miscarried about a month before I got pregnant. And then I think that impacted our communication during my pregnancy. She didn't really talk to me during my pregnancy, which was really hard because she was my roommate, she was one of my close friends, but I also understand in a way, I don't understand. I mean, that's part of it because I don't get it. I don't know how that feels, and I can't imagine. And then I also had my friend growing up who has been trying for years, probably 4 years, and nothing is going on, nothing is happening. And I feel horrible for her. And we talked about it recently, but I visit her house and she still has that room that's going to be a nursery. And, it's hard. I think it's hard for everybody who's involved, whether, you're the one with kids, you're the one without, you're the one who can relate. It's all just, so tough. For me, I was really young and it was an accident, and everyone tried to console me by saying it was a blessing to miscarry since my boyfriend was not so great. Oh my gosh. So I struggled with it for years until
Good night.
Gosh, that actually
wow.
That reminds me somewhat of what someone I know said about when I found out I was pregnant too. But the fact that they say that is just, no, and I can't believe everyone saying that. You said a lot of people said that, Brittany. Like, that is so sad. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. That is not fair whatsoever. And I remember at first when I told a few people that I was having twins, and I was nervous at first because I found out really early, and they said, come back in 1.5 weeks and we'll see if the hearts are beating inside. And I was nervous, one of the little sacs. I feel like when you're pregnant, you say the word sac so much. I don't know. But I was nervous I was going to come back and one of them wasn't going to have a heart in one of the little sac things. And people were saying, well, at least, you'd have one. And I understood that. But I think I was nervous.
Yeah, because
there were 2. And I was really, even if it was not a planned pregnancy, I still there were 2 in there. Then let's make 2 happen. That's what's happening. And my sister was kind of similar, Brittany, to how that went down for you-ish. My sister was saying, okay, so what are you going to do? And she wanted me to go different routes for this. And I told her, I think at the time, how old was I? 29. I was like, I'm 29. And yes, at the point, financially I was okay, but I knew moving forward, I would be struggling, but that's life. I was like, I'm going to do it. And she was not happy with me. So Brittany, does anybody else want to share anything regarding that comment? Oh man.
That's horrible.
I have no words. It's awful.
That's Brittany. I'm so sorry. We are here for you for that, because we will beat people up virtually if you need us to. Any way we can. Why do people think it's okay to minimize grief from miscarriage? Glares. Right. It is so, I can't can't imagine. I can't. Like, don't minimize the grief. People should grieve. Like I was just saying, like if I even one of those little twin sacks didn't, I can't imagine that.
I think sometimes, now I know some people aren't like this, but I think sometimes people just want to make you feel better, and that might not in your situation, Jenny, but in Brittany's situation, they might have been trying to, I'll turn a lemon into lemonade. They were trying to maybe make her feel better in the circumstances, but I don't. That's not a good thing to say. It doesn't happen. No, that's not good.
I know. There's when that happens, like I remember my friend, before I found out I was pregnant, I sent her this whole package, like in the mail, like when I found out this happened to her, just like a little, not thinking that's going to like make it all better, but like just like a mug and like some chocolate and just some cute stuff. Like just trying
to show you care.
Yes. To show I care, because it is something to like, it happened. You can't just push that aside and ignore it. Like, but holy guacamole, man. Postpartum anxiety is much more common in mothers who've undergone fertility instead of postpartum depression. That's true. There is a difference between postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression. And
I had both. I had postpartum depression after my first one and anxiety after my second one.
I feel like I definitely still struggle with, I mean, can't really count it as that postpartum, because it is postpartum, but not as close to, but definitely the depression aspect. I've always had a little anxiety, but it's definitely the depression more I think I struggled with than anxiety. But I can see the anxiety for those who have undergone IVF and all those things. That's so much to go through, like mentally, physically, everything. Oh, give you guys credit for going through all of the things. That's so much to do for that little pooping, crying, knowing, crazy little human that drives us crazy. But then I'm like, oh, I miss them over here on a Friday night, drinking my wine, like relaxed. But like, they're cute, but man, when they're not. Let's see. Oh, this one. My middle son was diagnosed with diabetes when he was just 2 years old. Ugh, that's so tricky. That's a lot to take on. Like any health, I will say I've, knock on wood, like been lucky with my girls. They're only 3, but I mean, I had childhood cancer when I was 1. So my parents had to go through all that stuff when I was 1. So I remember when my girls turned 1, I just like was putting thinking how my parents went through all this stuff with me, and just, I was paranoid, like something was going to happen at 1, which is crazy. But like diabetes or any surgeries, or my friend her daughter just had a cyst removed like on her eye, like, and her daughter's 6 months. And
oh,
I know it came out really well. Like the cyst came off and, everything, but that's scary. Like any health thing. Have your kids been healthy, or have you had any health situations with your kids?
My middle was chronically ill for 9 months, I'd say, pretty constantly. He had constant double ear infections, constant chest infections, was diagnosed with reactive airway disease. So he spent a lot of that time on steroids and puffers and in the hospital getting breathing treatments and all of that stuff. And that's so minor compared to, other worse things. But yeah, two of my kids have had ear tube surgery, and then my eldest had his tonsils out last year. So we've been down the surgery route, even though they were minor. But yeah, it's so scary to let them go and be put to sleep, and it's very nerve-wracking.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my oldest she's 15. She had her first knocked out, put to sleep procedure yesterday. Oh. And so that was rough, but she got through it. She's fine. My youngest, when she was 18 months old, had a seizure, a febrile seizure, and it was when she turned blue and her lips were blue, and we had to call the ambulance. My husband had to call 911. We had to do CPR. So that was probably the scariest. I mean, I've had different situations with all 3 of them, but they'll run down roll down the stairs and knock their head, and you know, my oldest has never been in the emergency room. My middle daughter's been there like 2 or 3 times. My youngest, I think we lived there for a while. She was the one that she would always fall and bonk her head, or you know, she would dislocate her shoulder. Because one day at church, I was holding her hand. Yeah, I was holding her hand, and that, you know how they'll drop sometimes. Well, yeah. I was holding her hand, and she dropped, and it dislocated her shoulder. So the ER doctor showed me how to pop it back in when I needed to. So we wouldn't have to pay $150 to get him to do it. But yeah, when I was little, I didn't go to the doctor very much. When I was 24, when I was in labor with my oldest, was the first time I'd ever had an IV, first time I'd ever been in the hospital. The first time I ever had my blood took was when I was pregnant. So it's not like any of this happened when I was little. So I guess I just never thought it would really, you know, occur too much. And I never thought I'd have to call an ambulance. And here, you know, we had to call an ambulance. So
that is scary.
That's so scary.
Oh my gosh. The seizure part just made me think of something. And anybody in the comments, if you want to comment about this, I mean, and I knew, you know, I had questions. I knew that would spark discussion, which is always the point of this. Like, it's good to hear all these stories. My girls, because they're so different. My daughters, if, you know, for those who follow me on Instagram or watch them in any of the videos, like they are honestly like some people, like the first video, they may be like, oh, they look identical, but literally give it a minute and they look like everything's different about these humans. But one of my daughters, Alora, she like was born and she had like the big cheeks, the big eyes, big blue eyes called White Walker eyes. And she just, when she was younger, when she falls asleep, her eyelids wouldn't cover her eyes the whole way. And that's normal for a lot of newborns. But they have such intense REM sleep that, you know, the eyes move around like chameleon eyes. And I, for a long, like the first week, thought she was having seizures because I could see her eyes like shaking in there. Nice. And I, as a new mom, who of course have gone to all the classes and, you know, the school, have a degree. And obviously that matters so much when you're a mom. Yes. Like I'm over here, like I swear she's having a seizure. Like, what is this? Like I could see her eyes. Like she's twitching. Like I really thought she was having a seizure. And I brought her to the doctor and my doctor goes, I usually don't tell patients to like search on YouTube or Google, but you need to Google REM sleep in newborns and you will see videos of this. And for anybody out there who's listening, it's normal. If you see your kid's eyes moving around like crazy and they're like 1, 2, 3 weeks old, they're not having, you know, just be careful. They're probably not having seizures. I'm not a medical professional, but when you said that, I mean, so I can't imagine my child having a real seizure because I was freaking out at that. Oh, holy guacamole, man. Let's see. It was the people closest to me, even my family, but this boyfriend was abusive and ended up in jail. I do see, okay. I mean, they wanted to keep you safe, but you losing a child also, that's everything. Like, so like Kelly was saying, like they were trying to help you, but that's so tough. I'm thinking I'm a lot better now. I like the positive. That's good. I'm glad. I agree. I think they were trying their best to make me feel better, having never experienced. Yeah. And if you've never experienced it, like myself or anybody, you know, we don't get it fully. And it's, you know, it's hard. And again, I can't imagine because I've never been there. So there's not much I can say. And I don't want to just because I haven't been there. Let's see. Kelly, you never had blood work before. The person who works in the medical field. Who is your doctor?
Well, he's dead now. His name was Dr. Green. No, I never had. Well, I guess I was 23 because I was pregnant. But yeah, it's the first time I had ever had blood work was when I was pregnant.
Oh my gosh. Like being a childhood cancer survivor, I'm over here like I got blood work like twice a year for most of my life. I'm like, that's nothing. The IV in the hand though, I will say, like I always got the IVs.
That kills.
That was one thing that like the next day after my C-section, which I was actually going to try delivery the other route for the girls, but Alora was stubborn and she still is. And she was breech. So I was like, I was terrified I was going to have to push one out and then baby B would flip and then I'd have to have a C-section. I didn't want to do both. So I was like, we're going for the C-section, but the hand IV, like that was, I pulled that out the next day. I was like, I'm done. I don't need that. I was the worst. But Kelly, that's a lot to take on right when you're about to have a baby and your entire life can change.
The IV, I was telling my daughter this yesterday because she was at Vanderbilt when they were doing she had to have a scope. They had like a care team in there telling her about how they were going to do the IVs and everything. And I told her, I was like, when I was 24 having you, I was in labor and I had never had an IV. I know I'm short. I need to.
No, it's okay. I just been blocking people.
Yeah, I never had an IV. And this lady put it in. I've never had one. I kind of flinched a little and she yelled at me in the middle of a contraction. She's like, you cannot move. I'm like,
Can't help it. I'm guessing. I never went into labor, so knock on wood.
Never been in well, yeah, I mean, it was like in the middle of a contraction, and she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna put your IV in," and I was like, ah.
Her fault. She should have waited.
She had things to do.
Had to help you with the baby, I guess.
I live in I live in a very small rural place, and they had other things to do.
Gosh. That's another thing. We should each share like where we're from, like time zone wise too. Like I'm Western New York, EST over here. Laurel, I'm going to guess. Are you from Canada?
Mm-hmm. I'm about an hour and a half outside of Toronto.
Oh, is that not far from Buffalo? No, where's Toronto compared to Buffalo?
It's 2 hours.
It's very close, maybe.
That's where we usually cross over to do shopping and stuff.
Oh my gosh, the bridge is like over here.
Yeah.
I think Kelly's a little further than where we are, I'm guessing.
Yes, I live in Middle Tennessee.
I love the accent. I love both of your accents. I can, my cousins actually live in Plattsburgh, New York, way on the other side of the state, but like they all have, like they pretty much sound Canadian. They all have the Canadian accent and I love it. I think it's so cute and it makes me so happy. So
that's so funny because I feel like Americans always say that a Canadian accent sounds like what we think of as a Minnesotan accent, which I don't think that's what we sound like at all, but I guess it depends what you're into. Like we don't really say like a boot or, anything like that.
That's true. I'm trying, there's like my cousins do a lot of A, which I think is so cute. And like, I'm trying to think how else they talk. I don't know, but I think it's the cutest thing. And I'm over here like, I don't have an accent. I want an accent.
You can have mine.
Okay. I pretend, but it's really bad. I'm the weird one that has to watch so I don't freak out. I feel like I'm so used to it. I'm just used. Again, that's just from me being sick. So like when I was younger, so I'm just all the things I could say that, but then I came to like the C-section, and if I ever had one more in like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever, 10 years, maybe not 10 years, but like one more, which would end up being twins. Like, I don't know if it's worth me. I don't know if I would do a C-section again, but that's a whole other thought game. But
I did my first the other way, and my second and third were C-sections, and I would take a C-section over the other way, hands down. Mm-hmm. It was so much easier healing for me.
Really?
But I've had 5 surgeries, I think, and I seem to just do really well healing from surgery for some reason. But my first son's birth was awful. It was so bad.
How many hours were you in labor?
I was in labor for 12 hours, which isn't too bad for a first time. Mm-hmm. Pushed for 2, but I had a lot of trauma from it and took months to heal, like literal months. And with my C-sections, I was up baby wearing at like 5 days post C-section. So like I would never go the other route again.
It was hard for me just because I think it was hard for me more in that I had really bad blood clots. For anybody who watches the replay, I apologize if this stuff is gross. If you're a mom, it won't gross you out probably. But like that was what was horrible. I'm in like the recovery room and everything's not numb anymore. And they're like getting all these, that's when that took me a long time to heal. But then I think it was hard just being someone who likes to be active. Like I do my aerial, like I had just not having abs whatsoever was really hard. And I wanted to like 6 weeks jump back into things, and in aerial, you're upside down a lot. So you have to invert. And I remember the first time trying to like lift my legs off the ground. I was like, at 6 weeks, I couldn't do it. And that was really hard for me. So I think mentally that I also shouldn't have started back at aerial 8 weeks postpartum. I should have like waited a little and not been so hard on myself. But I think that may have also just been probably, I don't know. I hear like that delivery the other way, like how I sign it, because that's actually the sign language for it, is like the worst pain you'll ever feel during those minutes, and then physical pain that you'll feel, and then it slowly goes away. But then with C-section, it's like a longer term, but it's different for people. Like Laurel, you said like you were up and moving around and, you know, doing whatever. So it so depends on the person. I mean, like I said, I'm good with my 2 girls over here. Like, I'm terrified.
Yeah, we're done as well. We're very done.
Yeah, I'm terrified of having another. But I also know sometimes I think like, what's it like to have one? But then I'd end up with like triplets. So never gonna know. Let's see. We have a few comments. Oh, Lauren, I have to go rock my son. Be back soon. Lasai, fucking pet time. We get it. Believe me and us. We get it. I'm from middle of Pennsylvania. I have a lot of cousins down in Pennsylvania. How nice. Thanks so much for doing this. Oh, thank you for being here. I want to do this again, like monthly or something. So we'll be back. We'll make it happen. Renee's in Alabama in a country setting.
Yay!
I love it. I love all the different places that people are from. That makes me so happy. Jenny, are you from New York? I moved here from an hour outside the city. I have lived across like the state. I'm not from the city of New York, New York City. My sister lives in Hoboken and works in New York City. So I do visit when I can, not as much right now, but I grew up in Syracuse, worked in Rochester, and now I live Western New York, near Buffalo.
I've been to Rochester. I had my aunt lived there.
Oh, that's
yeah. She was from down here. She was my great aunt. I
love how you say aunt.
I know. That's why I hesitated, because I looked
I think it's so cute.
And I was like, no, I'm just gonna say it. So she was my great aunt, and this guy came down from up north, and she knew him for 17 days. They got married, and she moved up to Rochester. So,
whoa! I thought me and my husband moved quickly. 17 days. That's crazy.
17 days.
Are they still together? Can I ask?
Well, yeah, they're both dead now.
Oh,
but, yeah. They were married, or they never got divorced. They were married the whole time. They had three kids, and he was a preacher. And yeah, so
holy moly! And they lived in Rochester. Did they live in Rochester like most of their life?
Yeah, the whole time.
See, I want to move back there.
That's like nice. We went to visit a few times. It's really nice.
It's so funny because like I just in my mind, like Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, those are such small little, like nobody knows where they are. Like I don't know the cities in a lot of other states. So I mean, Toronto I know, but like where Kelly's from, I don't know. So
you might. Well, you probably don't. Al Gore Jr. is my actual neighbor. So the house next to mine when he was the vice president, was the Secret Service house. So I just told you all where I live. Sorry.
We're all going to stalk you tonight.
That's crazy.
Yeah. My neighbor picked up a phone one time in their basement, and it connected to the White House. So like they had forgot to disconnect it, so they had to come and
disconnect that now.
Yeah. they already done that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is funny. Yeah. I lived in Rochester. It was honestly also my like most single, like adulty, working 9 to 5, living with my dog, like those kind of years. So it would be much different if I moved back there, but it's also only an hour for me. And my sister who lives in Hoboken is planning to move toward there because her fiance is from there and I have family and all my friends are. So it's definitely down the line of someday, but the girl's dad is in Buffalo. So it's also, we have good communication. I don't, it's a tricky situation. I would love to be in Rochester, but I like Buffalo too. I do. Let's see here. My mom had me and my brother naturally with no meds. That is a whole different game. But she had a minor stroke, with him. So she had my sister and they had a C-section. She healed quicker from that too. I'm the oldest by a lot. We're all 9. It just shows how it's so different for everybody. Like some people are like never again C-section, but some people are like never again. And I can't imagine anyway being fun. There's no way to have a freaking kid that's fun. Like
no. That's funny, Brittany. I didn't know that about you because I'm 9 and 11 years younger than my sisters. So I took forever to come along. I wasn't an accident. I just took my sweet time. But
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't.
15 years younger than mom.
Wow.
I won't go into details. It's a whole other game for me. I could explain mine. Yeah, I have 2 half siblings, one who passed away who's 47, who'd be 47. My big sister's 49. My little sister, who's full biological, is going to be 30. And then I have a biological younger brother who's 3 months older than my girls. So I have a lot of feelings.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whoa.
We'll leave it at that. I'm not getting into that. You can tell I have thoughts. So.
I know when I was growing up, my sisters always had to babysit me. So that was always like a point of contention for many, many years. But now, thankfully, that we're all adults, we all get along and are friends.
Yes. I feel like it will be different later on I still have a hard time calling the younger sibling like my brother, just because my older brother passed away. So it's that's a whole different discussion, but I have thoughts and I have feelings and we'll move on with that. Let's see. Oh, so you're upstate. I am upstate. Where are you? I want to know, let's see. Where are you from? Does it say, because you said an hour from, I'm guessing the city. So I'm guessing pretty much the city-ish, like where, I'm just curious. I'm interested. Yes, we're like Western Central upstate. I think I'm upstate, but I don't even know. A phone to the White House. That is funny. That is funny. None of us were planned, my poor mom. Surprise. You're here for a reason. Very nice. And she turned 59. Who is the she? I'm trying to remember. Your sibling or not your mom? I'm trying to think of. It says
underneath her mom. 50.
Go down the next one.
Okay. Oh. I was like, your mom had you at 59. I was like, wait, that's like a miracle. It's gonna be like, my dad has a small human and he's like 71. So leaving it at that. I'm just gonna move forward.
I think I'm tired.
Right. Let's see, Orange County. Okay, that's south of Albany-ish. Oh God, geography. I don't know. Oh,
Newburgh underneath.
Newburgh. Okay. Let's see. Let's move on to another question since it's been an hour. See, this is the good thing with questions. And I knew, discussion, that's the point. I feel like it's good to do this because it's helpful and it's fun and we all need to vent. Let's see what questions we got. Here's one that goes into writing. How has motherhood and or pregnancy impacted your writing and writing routine? And I'm very interested in Laurel's as well, but specifically Kelly's, because Kelly has like a butt ton of books out and a butt ton of kids.
Well, I actually started writing because I wanted to stay home and be a full-time mama. That didn't happen. It still hadn't happened, but that was why I originally started. So for years, like it was the goal was I'm going to write as much as I can, as hard as I can. And then eventually I'll make enough money and I can stay home. But it didn't happen. But it all started because I was a mama and I had read Twilight. And, Stephanie Myers had 3 kids and she wrote books. And I was like, well, if she can, I can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Stephanie Myers didn't have a full-time job and going back to college, but,
Going back to college, that's what kills me.
Yeah. But, I mean, she had a full-time job as a writer. I don't mean that, or as a mama, but I mean as another full-time job outside of all that, too. But what started it?
You were frozen. You're back. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's how it started. I got a laptop when the girls were little. They would watch TV or dance around watching Nick Jr. and I would write it, or sometimes I have earphones on, sometimes I wouldn't. It didn't matter. I'm used to being around a lot of noise. With my profession, it's very loud, so I don't have to have quiet or anything to write. And I can write kind of fast, so that helped too. So yeah, I would write, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 some odd words a night. Didn't sleep very much. But as I've got older, I have to sleep a little more now. So I don't get as much written at night as, I need to. But yeah, I'm not good. I was gonna get up and do the early morning writing things, and I'm not an early morning writer. I'm not an early morning person. When we were off, my husband works 3rd shift. So when we were off, when the girls were off, I was off, and he was off. We actually all ended up staying up till like 3:30 in the morning, and then we'd wake up at like, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock. We all are in the morning during the day, so we all got all mixed up. So I'm not a morning person. So I can at 9 o'clock at night, I'll wake. I can be so sleepy, and then 9 o'clock will hit, and I'll just be wide awake. So
that's me too. Yes.
Yeah. So that helps writing wise. I can used to when they were little, they would go to bed, and then I would sit down immediately and start writing and do, all the other stuff you have to do when you get a book out, like marketing and newsletters and pictures. And the smartphone helped a lot because I could do Canva things on my phone, and I could I have you have docs you can write on your phone if you're sitting somewhere, or any little free time second you can get is what I use to do that. And Saturday mornings and all Sunday afternoon, like I just never took a break. I don't recommend people doing that, but I had a big goal was to make enough to stay home. Mm-hmm. But now I make enough. It's kind of like a part-time job, pay wise. It's a full-time job, mm-hmm. But being a writer, but it's the money's getting a little better. So it's just not. It's not enough, and I don't even think my husband would want me to stay home because it's not consistent. Like some months you can make $200, some months you make $2,000, some months you might make. I've never, but some people make like $50,000, $100,000 a month. It's not consistent. So he likes the consistent paycheck of being a teacher. So I'm like, okay. But
is your significant other refilling your wine? Oh my God, I need one of those. Sorry.
That's a good one.
Bravo. Send your friend from Toronto. Come down to Buffalo. Anyway, sorry, Kelly, continue.
That's fine. No. I just write whenever I have a chance to. I have deadlines. I know when I have to reach them. I was supposed to write this week. It didn't happen. I had Monday was the first day back, so I was, that wasn't gonna happen. And then Tuesday happened. No, Wednesday happened.
Oh, was it Wednesday when everything went crazy?
Yeah, Wednesday happened. Then see, Monday I did my talk, my workshop.
Yes.
Tuesday, we was getting ready for Katie's scope. Wednesday, everything went crazy. Yesterday, I apparently just didn't. And then, like, I have a deadline. I have to have this book finished by Sunday. So I know what I'll be doing, this weekend. So it's just whenever I get a chance and, having to hit deadline.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Laurel, what about you?
That's some serious dedication. I can't imagine writing after my kids go to bed. I'm so tired.
It's the only time I could.
Wow.
That was my relaxing.
Yes, I'm with you with that.
I guess my kids impacted my writing in the way that I didn't write for a long time. I have multiple chronic illnesses on top of the kids. So between just being sore and tired and whatever, and then dealing with the kids during the day, I just didn't write for a long time. And I would sometimes get into little spurts. Like when my middle was, I think, about 6 months old, I decided I was going to do NaNoWriMo. Like that was a good idea. When I already had a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old, no.
Oh my gosh.
So that did not work. So I really didn't start writing again semi full time until this year. And I mean, that didn't seem like ideal timing either with them homeschooling in the middle of a pandemic. But for some reason it worked this time around. So I'm glad to be writing a bit more consistently now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm with you, Kelly, in that after 9 o'clock is when all of a sudden magically the world. Bravo, sir. Bravo.
They think you're awesome.
I do. That's amazing. It's so cool. I think when I lived in Rochester and it was just my dog, Theodore, and I, like at night after work, I'd either be at Ariel or I'd be walking down the street to my coffee shop and I'd be writing. So I was writing like all the time, like either every night or every other night. So when the girls came, yes, when I was pregnant, like I could write a little bit more because, well, sort of. Second trimester hit and I had really bad back issues. So unlike a lot of people who are like second trimester, they have a break. I feel like some people say like it's not always as bad. I mean, for me, it was horrible. So I couldn't sit for a long time and I couldn't stand. So I'd be picking up my laptop and putting it up and I started freelance writing. So like I would be writing. I was writing more in a way, but not as much creatively. I think when the girls were newborns, I was so like postpartum depression hit so hard. I knew I needed to write more. So I started writing more. Was that age? No. Was it that age? No, it wasn't. I'm trying to remember which book I think it was the one before that I queried. But I started focusing more and writing a little bit more then, but it was easier when they were newborns and infants because you can set them down. They nap more. I had more chances to write. Now the last year has been trickier, which is why I'm like, okay, I need to make a plan. I need to suck it up and wake up early, even though I want to cry when I wake up. I need to do more of that because they're not in the mood for naps anymore. And I was trying to condition them for the rest of their life to want naps. And it's not going to happen. Like some people are like, wow, they're still napping at 3. And I'm like, yes, they are. And they're going to nap forever because I need that nap time. Like whether I rest or I write, like I need it. But yeah, my nighttime, like after this, I'll eat my stew and then I need to start planning some stuff after I do some work. So it impacted my writing in that it slowed. It didn't stop, but it definitely slowed and then picked back up once I realized how much it was my like self-care. Like writing was my way of relaxing. It was my way of like being able to escape. So I needed to do it. And I think that's why I still like when I get up at 5 o'clock by 5 or 5:30, when I'm by 5:45 and I have my coffee, I'm good. It's just getting there. And I saw like this clock that rolls off the table. I put it in my Instagram. I don't know if anybody
saw that.
And most people were like, because I put either yes, get it, and then like you'll chuck it out a window. Most people were like, you'll chuck that out the window. Like I probably would, but it rolls off like your table and you have to chase it. So you have to wake up. And I'd be freaking out. It would wake my girls up. Like part of me wants it. I have a Ko-Fi, Kofi. If anybody puts money in there, I'll buy it. But like I need to get up in the mornings because I need to start marketing. Like Kelly, you were saying, like I need to do my marketing plan. I had a lot set with my small press, but I really need to step it up. So we'll see. We'll see how all this works. But let's check out the comments. I was thinking we could go till about 8:30, so we could jump in one more question for the night. This is fun. Let's see. Brittany is a night owl. Welcome to the night owl world. I write on my breaks at work and then an hour at night before Aiden goes to bed, usually 7 to 8 or so. And weekends, I do what I can. Yes, I hear you. I think it was also easier pre-COVID when as many people know, a big coffee shop like addict. I go to my coffee shops and that's when I get most of my stuff done. And right now we're in orange zone, which means like we can't go inside places. So I'm lost to the world. So it's tricky. It can be tough. Lauren is back. My mental health suffered so much during IVF. I'm sure I stopped writing for years. Oh geez. When he hit 3 months sleep regression, oh God, the dam broke and I wrote Songs of Autumn. There, you're like, psh, creativity just occurred and magically came back. I can't wait to read that. I have like this goal of reading more indie books. So Kelly, I'm going to jump and read some of yours. I think I'm going to save some of yours for Halloween. I've already thought about this though. Like I feel like October I need to like jump because you have like a lot of that kind of like feel. So I feel like I need to do that. So I'll buy those and I'll like save it for like September. And then I definitely want to read Songs of Autumn, which is super exciting. And I just don't sleep. Yeah. I have a problem. I like to nap way too much. Like tonight, like the girl's dad picked him up and I'm like, I got to go do a practice. I'll nap for like 20 minutes. No, Jenny, you could have written for 20 minutes. You don't need to do it. Ugh, it makes me so frustrated. Gosh darn it. All right. Let me see one more little question, guys, that we'll throw out. And then we can always schedule another one of these. I think it's fun. Let's see. We can do this one. What are some things you guys have done to make it so that you can manage writing and motherhood and or pregnancy? So what are some things that either you have done or you would suggest like that are helpful when it comes to managing writing and motherhood and all that?
Same as you, my kids nap until they go to kindergarten. So in Ontario, we start kindergarten at 4. So it's a little more realistic maybe because I think you guys start at 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they nap right until they go to kindergarten. I start to wean them off a few weeks before they start. So that's my writing time, that 2 hours during the day. If they don't sleep and they just lay in their bed and sing or whatever, it's fine by me as long as I can have that quiet time. Yep. Yeah, so that's really the only time that I write because as I said, by the time they go to bed, I'm too tired. So that is my key to success for writing with kids is making sure they nap.
I know.
I think the best thing I ever did when mine was little was, besides having the laptop to write on, was earphones. So I could listen to music. They could be watching their show. They could be dancing and singing and hollering and whatever they needed to do. You know, as long as I could see them when they wasn't killing each other.
Right.
They were learning how to entertain themselves. So, and then I would put on headphones and I used to have these, well, I still have them, playlist, I would have one with music that would make me sad, and one with music that would make me happy, and one with like scary music and like mood music. And if I had a scene coming up and I needed a certain feel to it, I would hit that playlist. I put, earphones on and just talk and, go on about my life. And if they needed me, they would, tap my shoulder or, whatever, if I'd have to get up and regular fight or, it's actually harder to write now that they're older than it was when they were little. Because
no, don't tell me that.
Good to know.
Well, I don't write on laptop anymore. I write in here on the computer or the desktop. And my girls, I mean, it's very sweet. I'm not going to tell them not to, especially since they're older. And I think when they're little, you think, okay, I have time. If they want something, I'll get it in a second. Just, entertain yourself, do this. When they're older, like my oldest will be 18 in 3 years. So if she wants a hug from mama's giving her a hug, if she wants to come in here and tell me something that's happened, I'm going to listen to it, even if I'm, in the middle of whatever. So it's actually a little bit harder to get focused. Because then I could put a sign on the door to say don't come in, but I like them coming in because it won't be too much longer before they won't be here.
Right.
To come in. So, it takes me a little bit longer now to write things because,
you want to give them that attention because if they decide college is what they want to do, you're not going to have, and it's so funny because that's so far from my mind. Like that's obviously, I have 3-year-olds. So I'm like over here, kindergarten, like the preschool I'm looking into is what's on my mind. Like getting them prepped for preschool. Like it's, being able to sit here while they try not to nap is like what I want my thing. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Like and lately, like when I sit back and I look, I'm like, years ago, this would have been the ideal setting for me to get my things done and become a legit author because I can write. I have I have these evenings and sometimes I do have the nap times when it's not too chaotic. Like this would have been ideal. And I'm looking back like, why am I trying to nap when they nap some days? Why am I trying to I need to look at it from like a different perspective. Like when they're older, it's going to be different. Right now is like, I feel like golden. I need to just jump on it.
When a few years ago, I had a friend, her daughter was 21, I think. And she was telling me that it was harder for her to write now that her kids were older too. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then when my oldest started doing the same thing, I was like, oh, I get it now. I get why. I mean, it's not necessarily harder. It's just that you, instead of counting up, you start counting down. I won't cry. Oh my gosh. And that kind of makes it a little harder. It makes it a little harder to, take time to write your word count in or whatever. I won't hush now.
It's the hormones. Even 18,
it really is.
Later, still the hormones. I still blame the hormones.
I think the headphones are also a really good tip, especially with my husband and all 3 kids being home full time right now. My headphones have definitely been my best friend in terms of not listening to my husband's work calls or the kids playing or that sort of thing. So yeah, that is definitely key as well.
Oh my gosh. You have all boys. Like you are the woman of the house here.
I don't like to stereotype, but they are such stereotypical boys. Like they are loud, they are running around, they are fighting each other nonstop. It's just chaos. I'm really glad we've had a semi-warm winter because I've been able to kick them out into the backyard for 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, which makes a big difference. But yeah, it's chaos. It really is. And people are like, oh, don't stereotype, don't, like gender specify things. And I'm like, okay, but like little boys are little boys. Like you can't get around it.
No, it's true. Yeah. And it's been warm here. I'm kind of over here, like knock on wood. When's this like big snowstorm? We had sort of one, but not really. Like I'm one that likes fall and winter and I hate driving in it, but like, okay, I want some snow. Is that weird? But I get what you mean. Like we've been able to go outside a couple times too and like go to the field across like from the townhouse and like play. And but I want snow before like February. Come on, it's almost February.
We have snow. We just don't have too much, and it's not too cold, so it's been nice.
Yeah. For me, I don't even know what, like, I don't even know how I'm going to answer this because it's so funny because I always tell myself, like, I'm not good when it comes to listening to music and writing, but then I go to coffee shops and they're blasting music. So obviously I do listen to music and I can write with music.
You need something that you don't pick. You need a shuffle. So you don't pick what you're listening to.
Honestly, yeah. I need to just put like coffee house radio. Like the place I've been going to, because it's like the only place that was open at the time I could go, has like loud alternative, and I like that stuff. So maybe I just need to find some old, like, it's from like the 80s, 90s. Like I like that kind of stuff. Just put that on. But it's so funny because when I sit here and I put music on, I can't focus well. So I don't know if it's the atmosphere. I think it's the atmosphere too. I think how I've been able to manage is I realize that I have to do, it's something that just, it makes me feel better. So it's a self-care thing. Like after I sit and I write for an hour even, or wake up in the morning, like I just feel so much better. And the rest of the day is just like, it's just I know it's a good way to start the day. So I know mentally it's gonna check off the box for self-care and it's gonna check off the box for writing. So I feel like it's part of the motivation. Like if you're motivated and you're able to do it, at least, do what that works best for you. It's hard. It's like, I have a hard time with this question. I shouldn't have chose this one, but I'm glad I did.
You wrote it.
I took it from a website. But like,
well, you're starting your day with writing, and then you feel productive for the rest of the day,
yes.
right? So that's probably a lot of it, is that you feel good that you've accomplished something right off the bat as soon as you rolled out of bed.
Yes. Like mentally, I feel like, wow, I've already done something before the day started, because when my girls roll into the room, the day is starting. So it's always nice to get up, but it's also, I hate waking up early. But I think managing self-care, I'm going to also go, when it comes to self-care, is, therapy and talking to other moms. And like I've been back on meds. I went back, but I when I was pregnant, I went on a low dose after taking myself off cold turkey, which was dumb, but I also understood the panic. So, I understand what I need to better my mental health. So making sure that you know what you need to do and do something about it. I think that that's crucial, but it also takes a long time for some moms to realize that. So it's,
and especially when you're a new mom and you don't necessarily know, and you go on certain Facebook groups, websites, and the mama drama, the mama guilt.
yes,
just don't listen to it. That's what I had to really learn when my girls were little, because I felt horrible when I worked. I was a full-time outside of the house mama. I formula fed, all the stuff, and I just felt horrible, and that definitely added to the the depression part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be good. I wanted to be like the best mama, and I wasn't feeling like I was, because I had all these people were reading all these people's comments on this stuff. That, it wasn't their life, it wasn't their kids, it wasn't, but I was taking it very much to heart.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure. I had to block it. I left every mama group I was in. And that's what you were saying. You need mamas to talk to, but you need mamas to actually talk to that can understand what you're going through and can tell your own, situation. I didn't have that back then. I didn't know anything about, I didn't know the levels of postpartum depression. I didn't know, I didn't run into it. The only thing I knew about postpartum depression was I watched it on Guiding Light when Reva ran off of a bridge. That's all I knew about it.
Oh my gosh.
So, I ended up leaving after I felt horrible, and I said something to my husband about it. He was like, they don't live here. They don't know our marriage. They don't know our kids. So I think the best thing I did as a mama, not writer related, but as a mama, was to get out of all the mama groups I was in to stop reading certain, websites that were just making me feel horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And when I stopped doing that and started focusing on what works for our house, what worked for our family, that helped so much. And that took a lot of the weight off me and the guilt. And that helped my family because I wasn't stressing about, I don't know, getting McDonald's.
Stuff that doesn't matter.
I was
chicken nuggets and mac and cheese for 2-3 nights in a row.
Yes. Because they didn't have like a vegetable. I mean, they had a vegetable, but you know what I mean? Like they didn't have their fruit quotient for, a day. And you're like, ew. How can you give your kids chicken nuggets? Well, I fed them. I'm sorry.
They're eating.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. And that, like, it was yes, having a mom support system is important, but you also need to know who is worth keeping in your that circle, who's a positive force and who's not. And that's also been tricky for me, is that friend who was my roommate, who we didn't talk much during my pregnancy. We're still friends, but we also have very, very, very different views on mothering. Like she nursed her kids until they were 3, and she does cloth diapers. I tried to nurse, but I also was like, I'm not going to force it. And I formula fed, and heck no, I'm not going to, I wasn't for cloth diapers at the time. They were cute and I liked how they looked, but it wasn't going to work. So like, there were certain things that just are, so she knows now not, we know where our boundaries lie with those things. So I think that's important too. Like if there are the different beliefs, we can still support each other. That's good. But don't, for a while, I felt like we're kind of making comments that we both now taken back. Like just, it's tough. It's just not easy.
I think it's awesome though, how much society as a whole has come around to the topic of mental health, and especially postpartum and mental health during motherhood. Because I know with my first 2, it was not even a discussion with my doctor at all. But with my third, every baby wellness check that I went to, his very first question was, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your mental health? Before he even got to my baby and how things were going in that way. So I think we've made a lot of progress, and I think that's really great for new moms now. But yeah, it definitely wasn't that way 10, 15 years ago, like at all.
No. And that's something I think I forget what I mentioned. I mentioned that in something, I don't remember what, but newborns have checkups every month for a long time. And I feel like moms need to have those too, not just their 6 week and then see you later. Like they need to be seen every month too. Like for, how are you feeling? How are you healing, mentally, physically, everything. Like, cause that 6 week check-in for me was like, okay, goodbye. And
it's not enough.
Yeah, no, it's not enough. And I feel like as much, for that first year, all the times that the baby goes in, the mom also like we've said, it's a lifestyle change. Like it's a huge transition. And even if I always say, even if you're prepared fully, you're not going to be prepared for 99% of it. Like it's things are going to happen. You don't know that that child is going to be like when they hand it to you. So it's, oh my Lanta. And that let's see what the comments are. I think that's a good way to end. Scheduling and having a supportive family is huge for me. Yes. Routine for me. I know some moms, and I give moms props who don't use routine, but I think my girls are still on routine.
Mine were until this year. COVID hit, we got on quarantine.
That too, yeah.
Everything went up in there. But yeah, they had certain bedtimes. They had, even as old as they are, they still do now. They have to go to bed at 10, but
yeah.
If they don't go to sleep, that's on them.
Right. Right. No, routine's important. Automate as much as possible. Delegate. Bedtime is sacred. Yes. I like all of that, Lauren. That's very good. And yeah, I think the bedtime is sacred as is crucial for everybody. My partner's so supportive, and he's always telling me to write. That's so good. So good. Like, I'm over here like, oh, the wine glass was refilled. And oh, like so nice. So it's good to always have a supportive partner and some kind of support system. And that's why I also like this community, because it's just so nice. He's always telling me to write. Speaking of, he's wearing my Nano winner shirt. Oh, cute. And he tells everyone who asks, that's so amazing. Like, I'm getting my eyes are getting
awesome.
Like, that just brings me to like a happy place. Not that like my ex wasn't supportive. He just, I don't think, understood how important writing was. And, even Ariel, like, he just didn't want to go to my shows. And that made me sad because, like, come on. So having a supportive partner is so good. So good. Send friends from Toronto. Okay. Yes. Oh, thank you, Lauren. Yes. Feel free to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. It's what I say at the end of my videos. It's just an automatic thing now. And yes, and comment on the stream. Yes, feel free, please. For those watching the replay, please comment in the stream below and let us know what your answers to these questions were. It's like, that's what I sound like in my videos. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out in the comments, hanging out here, ladies. I would love to do this again. I think it was good for us, and I think it's good for other mama writers and other people who are either pregnant or expecting or want to have babies in the future. These real discussions are important. But yeah, we can go through each of us and kind of give ourselves a little shout out to our channel. Again, I am Jenny, Jennifer Aline, the Right Mama, and you're at my channel, so thank you very much. Feel free to subscribe. I usually post every Friday, except this week, because we had a whole bunch of live streams. Usually, if that happens, I don't post my Friday, but next week I'll be back to that. So usually every Friday I do post. So Laurel, are you this way? No, you're this way. Okay.
Yes, that way. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was really fun. I haven't talked to adults besides my husband and parents for so long. We're on full-blown lockdown right now. So this was really nice to talk to other adults. It was really fun. And my channel is just my name as you see it there, Laurel Mooring. And I would love if you would come and check my channel out. And it was so nice to talk to you guys. Thank you, Jenny, for hosting.
Yes, thank you so much, Jeannie. This was really fun. I've never actually sat down. I mean, I've talked to mamas about, writing and teaching or whatever. Never actually talked about just being a mama, that and the hardships and the fun and just the things that go along with it. That was really fun. I appreciate it.
Soon.
Yeah. And thank you for in the comments. I've loved reading them and seeing everybody. My channel is Kelly Martin Books, and I have Plan With Me's on Sundays, live streams on Mondays at 7:30 Central, and a video on Thursdays.
Woo-woo. Awesome. Well, again, a big thank you to everybody in the comments, and a thank you to you watching the replay over there. So thanks, guys, and we will see you soon. I'm going to wave and push the button. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.